This LOS is explain and demonstrate the correct treatment of flotation costs. Flotation costs. Now for this LOS, we're going to flash back to the capital budgeting and an LOS that we've seen before, which is describe the basic principles of capital budgeting. And I put in bold here that financing costs are ignored. This may seem unrealistic, but it is not. Most of the time, analysts want to know the after-tax operating cash flows that result from a capital investment. Then these after-tax cash flows and the investment outlays are discounted at the required rate of return to find the net present value. Financing costs are reflected in the rate of return, okay? So when we look at the cost of equity, the formula is the cost of equity equals D1 over P naught plus G. So a quick review, we know where that came from. It was from the dividend discount model, because the dividend discount model, P naught equals D1 divided by the cost of equity minus G, correct? So we just spin the equation, and that's how we come up with the cost of equity. So for flotation costs, we're not going to put it in our discount, our net present value in terms of here's a minus an expense for flotation costs. No, we're going to adjust the cost of equity. And how do we do that? We just take our P naught, and I put it in red here, we multiply by 1 minus the flotation costs. So if the flotation costs were 2% and we issued shares at $100, okay, that means we're going to get $98. What's that going to do? It's going to lower the denominator, and it's going to increase the cost of equity, okay? So that's the only slide that we have here with regards to the flotation costs. So I'm just finishing this LOS with a bit of a study tip, because this is the LOS, last LOS for this reading and for this study session. So I said there's two good item sets to work through at the end of the cost of capital CFA 1 reading, okay? Most question banks for level 1 do not have item sets. So it's kind of interesting. At the end of chapter readings, sometimes they don't have any multiple choice questions for some of the readings. Sometimes they do have multiple choice questions, which are very much similar to the exam. But then in some readings, they have actual item sets, which are very similar to the level 2. And this reading for cost of capital is one where they've got two item sets that are very similar to what you see in level 2. So for the candidates out there that are not paying enough attention to the end of chapter questions and answers, solutions, this is the point where I really encourage you to go and spend some time looking at that. Because there's a high failure rate for level 2, which is all item set. We know like the average pass rate the last 10 years is about 43%, so 57% of the people are failing level 2, all happy about passing level 1. Get to level 2, more than half are failing, okay? So this is my little advice, is that start your item set. If you got the eye to going the whole way, CFA level 1, 2, and 3, start your item set practice in level 1. Don't ignore it. The level 2 exam has a total of 20 item set questions. The morning session has 10 item set questions. The afternoon is 10, okay? On the level 2 exam, you have a total of 120 items, which is 20 vignettes with 6 questions each, compared to the 240 multiple choice questions that you have on the level 1. The level 2 exam is worth 360 points, corresponding to the number of minutes on the exam. The 120 level 2 items are equally weighted, 3 points each. You've got 3 minutes per question, you got 3 points each, with no penalty for the incorrect answers. So you have more time. It's 3 minutes, because you're going to be working your way forward in some questions and then have to be working your way backwards. For example, how to calculate the price of a call is a perfect example, okay? So on level 2 and level 3 exams, some topics are covered in the morning session only, and other topics are covered in the afternoon session only. So this is just a heads up for this LOS at the end of this reading in this study session, is to go to the back of the chapter, work on all the end of chapter problems and solutions. And I like this one in particular because there's 2 item sets that are very similar to level 2, and it starts getting you in the mind frame for that. On that note, that's the last slide for this LOS. Thank you.